We're back.
We are, in
All
fact.
right, back. I was a little distracted telling Jason before we went on. I'm actually suing Justin Bieber. Yes, I am. So, what? Long story short, and this one actually should have been in the book. Of course, Leanne's been a Bieber fan since she was born.
Okay.
Her one point, her room was that Bieber purple. She had postings of Bieber, 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 Bieber.
Oh
She
my
had
goodness.
first concert she was supposed to go to. Somehow, some way it got canceled. Second concert she was supposed to go to. Somehow, some way it got canceled.
What?
Third concert was April the 26th of 2022, and it was in Las Vegas. So I'm like, well, I called my buddy John Simpson, said, hey, want to go to Vegas? Well, you don't got to twist his arm. He's there. His wife's a Bieber fan, so she would go, and Leanne was going to take a friend. So we bought 3 tickets. The
All right.
VIP Diamond meet and greet, about 5 grand for the 3 tickets.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah, so of course, what happened? The Biebs allegedly gets some condition and cancels the tour,
Wait a
right?
minute. So this is a third concert. Wait, let me
Third
understand.
concert Leanne was supposed to go to and still has not seen the
So
Biebs.
is it the same concert that was like
Nope.
rescheduled
Nope.
the first time, second time, and
The
third
first one
time?
was probably 10 years ago when he
Okay.
was
Okay. Okay.
young,
Okay.
and year after year she's been trying to no avail.
Jeez.
So it gets canceled, and you think, okay, well, this is easy. Give us our money back. Oh, no, 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 no. The equivalent of Ticketmaster, which is like AXS Group, who's selling the tickets, says, well, it was only postponed. It
Oh.
hasn't been canceled, so you don't get the refund.
Wait a minute.
Uh, oh, yeah.
What?
Yep. So, of course, when it first comes up, Bieber cancels Justice World Tour because he has a condition. Well, the lawyers and bean counters and the people, oh no, no, Jason, no, it's not canceled, people.
Bean
It's
counters.
postponed.
Yeah.
Now, how long
Okay.
is it postponed? Oh, indefinitely, but you don't get your money
Uh.
back.
What?
Oh yeah, we called. Well, so if Justin Bieber decides
Wait a minute.
he's going to wait 20 years but for whatever reason, life,
The
marriage,
comeback tour.
kids,
Yeah.
you just get to keep millions and millions of dollars from these poor little kids, little girls that kept their lunch money in a
Yeah.
jar and babysat and did all these things because they could go to the Beavers.
Yeah.
No, we're keeping your money. Sorry. Well,
Now, I'm unfamiliar with ticket sales because I'm not a big concert goer, but has it
me
always
either.
been like this? Like, I mean,
Couldn't tell you.
growing
I
up in the
I
80s and 90s, like,
I haven't bought a ticket
it
since
was all stand in line.
ACDC.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
Well, I
Um,
remember when you guys did the Rock Fest,
right.
the I one guy was there and he would like shared a ticket with somebody and it was like he put it in his phone and like gave a ticket to a friend or something like that. Like it was all digital. And
Yeah.
back when I was like I don't know, grew up in the 90s, like tickets were paper. You had to
Yeah. No.
stand in line and buy them and then go give them to your friends or whatever, like so I don't know if because of that any of it's different or if it's the same.
No.
Like
No. It is. They have millions of dollars and they don't want to give it back. And just that simple. And so I'm suing
What?
the ticket group, and I'm suing the Beebs because of unjust enrichment.
Hmm. Okay,
So
what is that?
unjust enrichment is we conferred a benefit upon him, i.e., give him money, and he didn't live up to his end of the bargain and provide the service, and so he's been unjustly enriched, meaning he's been given money
Hmm.
and hasn't done anything for it,
Got you.
basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Are
you
there
know,
insurances that protect against stuff like this? Like I know that in business, like of landscaping or something, you have to have a certain amount of insurance. That way, if like you rock goes
well,
because of you goes
here's the
flying through the
deal.
window, you've got to,
Well, you
you
don't
know,
need insurance. Jason, I gave you $50.
right,
You didn't perform. Give the
right, right.
$50 back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I
You don't
guess
need
you're
insurance. You
complaining
got the
about a
money.
medical
Here,
condition.
did they spend the money already? Who knows? But bottom line is,
Probably.
you've got the money. What is insurance going to pay? You
Yeah.
collected $10 million. You should have $10 million because you know the concert was canceled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. I've been working on that because I just it's ridiculous. It's not a lot of money, but it's principle. You're just going to keep the money? No, no. So I'm going to
Yeah.
send it to TMZ and some of my people over at the in TV land. See if he can't get a little traction.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
All right. So
Send
then
a free
I was
copy of your book as a thank you as well.
yeah, exactly. That'd be good. That's not a bad idea. Oh yeah, and Beebs, by the way, if you want to get a Netflix special, here's a book. That's pretty funny. I might do that. All right, so I read the Florida Law Weekly on
Yeah.
a regular basis. So I came across one which I've seen this issue, and you may have heard of it, maybe not, but it's college kids basically suing universities. In
Okay.
this case, it's the University of Florida and USF
Okay.
for a refund, basically, of service fees that were collected during COVID and for services that weren't provided. By way of
Oh, okay.
example, I know at USF they got the little trolley that goes from like a bus, that goes from A to B to C, and you can ride it for free to get
Okay.
around school. And I'm sure USF has one. I'm sure FSU has one, and you pay for that. I think it's a transportation fee. Well, there was they shut down the universities, of course, in 20 and 21, and so there was no transportation fee or transportation being provided. And so that's one of them. Another one is a healthcare fee. You have to, if you don't have health insurance, or maybe even if you do, but there's a clinic on campus. Well, there was no clinic. The campus was closed.
Right.
There are typically gyms,
Yeah.
workout gyms, places like
Yeah. Yeah.
that at the university where students can go play for free. And
So
the
would that
list
be
goes
this?
on and on.
Okay.
Huh?
I was gonna say, is that the same kind of thing you were talking about earlier as the unjust enrichment? Is that the
Uh,
angle? Like,
well, or breach of contract, to be honest.
okay.
This was filed under a breach of contract.
Okay.
We entered into a contract to pay you monies for A, B, and C,
It
and
wasn't
you didn't
available.
provide A, B, and
Mm,
C.
of course.
Well, and so what happened was, of course, USF got sued in Hillsborough County,
Okay.
and University of Florida got sued in Alachua. That's the county in Gainesville.
Okay.
The
Okay.
district courts of appeal that heard it, the first district, which is up in Tallahassee and covers Alachua County,
Why would they get sued in Gainesville? I don't understand.
because it's the University of Florida in Gainesville. That's where
Oh, their
that's
campus
where they
there.
reside,
Okay.
and where the cause of action accrued.
Okay, got you. Got you. Got you.
Yeah, so that's where you can't just sue you. Let's say you and I get in a car wreck. You're from Hillsborough County. I'm from Hillsborough County. The car wreck is in Hillsborough County. You can't sue me down in Miami.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's it. It's just that's the proper venue. That's where
So
they
this is
reside.
UF or
Well,
US?
there's two. This
Okay.
one here, which was November ruling, was University of Florida,
Got you.
First District Court of Appeal. This one here is June of 2022, University of South Florida, Second District. Okay.
Okay.
So the question is, let's start with the University of Florida. I'm sorry, University of Florida. The trial court holds that there was a breach of contract
Okay.
and that the case should proceed against the university.
Okay.
Okay, that's what it's based. Well, the first district there in Tallahassee went out of their way to find there was no contract and that there was no breach of that contract, and therefore under what's called sovereign immunity, which basically protects governmental entities, and the universities are a governmental entity. Under
Okay.
sovereign immunity, because there's no contract, you can't sue us.
Hmm.
Right. So remember, you cannot sue the government unless they waive sovereign immunity. Sovereign immunity basically protects the government from suit.
Wow.
In tort actions, which is negligence and things of that nature, they waived it up to $200,000. So let's
Okay.
just say you get hit by a school bus, that's the government,
Right.
and it kills you. Well, you get $200,000. So the government has waived sovereign immunity in tort actions, but the question is, does that apply to a contract?
Interesting.
Well, the first district didn't answer as to whether or not it applied to a contract. They because they said there is no contract between the students and US and the University of Florida. What a joke.
Don't you
I
sign
mean, there's
paperwork?
all
What do you
kinds of
mean?
documents laying out
Yeah.
what you have to pay, what you get, and so forth, but they went out of their way.
You're like, I don't have to pay for that education I just got.
Right.
There's no contract. But
Interestingly enough,
what?
interestingly enough, in June,
Uh-huh.
um, I'll just read it. It says Miss Moore, a student, filed a class. These were both class action lawsuits, by the way,
Okay.
alleging that during all semesters of 2020 and spring of
Can you pause for a second?
2021, USF collected fees for on-campus services that were not offered due to COVID. She alleged USF has improperly retained funds for services it did not provide in violation of its express contract with students, which allow it to collect fees only for certain statutorily specified purposes. So that's really the allegation in both. The guy in the University of Florida basically alleged the same thing. You collected fees for on-campus services not provided. Um, remember the first district said, well, that wasn't really a contract. Don't
Right.
ask me why they would say that, but they did. The second district went out of its way to analyze whether or not there was a contract between Miss Moore and USF. And here's
Okay.
how they came up with it. It says, well, because remember, it says when the state enters into a contract authorized by general law, the defense of sovereign immunity will not shield it from litigation. And they go on to cite all the law. And it says, when the legislature has authorized the state entity to enter into a contract, it clearly intends that the contract be valid and binding on both parties. The government's obligations under the terms of an express written contract it was authorized by law to enter are subject to the same standards of contract performance and enforcement that would apply to a private party. Therefore, where the state has entered into a contract fairly authorized by the powers granted by general law, the defense of sovereign immunity will not protect the state from actions arising from its breach.
Okay.
So what they were arguing and won in basically in the first district is, well, we have sovereign immunity and we didn't waive it, and therefore you can't sue us. Well, the first district, they kind of didn't touch that because what the second district said a few months later makes them sound like idiots if they were to say, yeah, sovereign immunity protects a state entity for breaching a contract. Well, they couldn't go there because that's asinine based on how thoroughly the second district laid out that would be an asinine position. Because
Okay.
then nobody would enter into a contract
With the
with the
government at
state of
all.
Florida,
Yeah.
meaning you construction, you name it. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine
Yeah.
all the contracts
Yep.
no one would enter into it. The
Yeah.
state would just say, "And you know what, we're not going to
They
do it.
they become
You can't
categorically
sue us."
one-sided. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's an asinine argument. So the first
Okay.
district didn't go there. What they said is, there's no real contract between you students and the university. Even though if you go online and look at all the documents, it's a
Right.
contract. You agree to pay, we agree to provide these services.
So how exactly did they say there's no real contract? Like I don't.
You'd have to read it.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
said the documents,
They don't amount to it.
they attached the student handbook. They attached things from the website. It's just not, it was not a specific, contract, so to speak, it is,
Right.
but it's just, they just wanted, honestly, they just wanted to protect the universities.
Certainly. Well, I mean, a
So,
lot of
yes,
times.
well, here's the deal. Back
Yeah.
we talked about a
Okay.
long time ago. So what do we have here? we've got a conflict.
Failure to communicate.
We've got a conflict between the first district and the second district. So they certified the question to the state Supreme Court. And the question is simply whether sovereign immunity bars a breach of contract claim against a state university based on the university's failure to provide its students with access to on-campus services and facilities. Basically, do you got to give the money back or not?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Does it being a class action lawsuit have a different weight on it in terms of like being from an individual? Because I know like with class action, or correct me if I'm wrong, rather, with class action lawsuits, the plaintiffs are many but represented as one lump, right? Like
Yeah.
they're treated as one, but it's like actually a group.
Well, you bring a class action because imagine if 50,000 lawsuits were filed against
Right.
USF
Right,
and
exactly.
against University of Florida and Florida
Yeah.
State. I mean, there would be 500,000 lawsuits
Yeah, of
all
course.
on the very
Yeah.
same issue. So you
Right.
kind of bring a class. Now, I don't do it, but my understanding is in a class action, and this is part of the problem, is the loser of the class action would have to pay the attorney's fees.
For
So,
each individual, do you
well, no,
multiply
but like,
that
let's say I'm the attorney
on?
for the class
Yeah.
representing the plaintiffs at USF, and the service fees, maybe it's $200. You got to refund Jason for and
Right.
me and John and Bob. So 200, 200, 200, 200. But
But
then
Jason doesn't have to pay
you got to
anything
pay
to
the
file the
lawyer
lawsuit.
$2 million
Right.
for representing
Right.
the class.
Yeah.
So the attorney's fees are as big an issue in a class action lawsuit as the actual amount each individual. Now you can imagine though, we're talking a significant amount of money, involved, because I believe every university has or is being sued under this theory.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's gonna make a precedent. Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. If you're going to shut down the campus, then at least
Why would you be charging?
stop the next semester.
Yeah.
So we're in let's call the what is it, the fall,
Yeah.
August, September, October.
Yep.
Well, let's go back. It was actually March of 2020
Yep.
when they shut down. Well, okay, so you don't give that money back because April school's almost over.
Yep.
But damn sure don't charge money for fees in the
Right.
summer.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, don't charge those fees for fall because everybody's online.
Yep.
And move on.
And then when they come back, defer payment for a period of time.
Well, out of greed, well, we're going to charge them anyway because you know what? If you don't want to pay them, you're not coming to our school.
Yeah.
Well,
I find I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Yeah, I find that in a lot of these, like a larger institutions, there's a lot of people who just don't want to do the work, like to put in the effort to place all of those accounts in deferment status. Let's say that once they came back to the university and things are in motion again, it's like if they're using the facilities and they're using all of those services, like why not allow them use of it for a period of time and defer any further payments until you've caught back up a balance, right?
Well, whatever. Look,
that.
I got news for you. There's a button you could probably push to say, okay, take out this $200.
Maybe is probably multiple people's jobs are there.
Well, bottom line, we'll see what happens, whether they got to pay it back or not. But it's funny on that note, is the government paying back money. I don't know if many people remember, but it has been now, I believe, since 2018 when the Florida Supreme Court held that the 1% sales tax that was in effect for a year or two, that collected over $500 million that Hillsborough County has, that money's still sitting there. Now, they've been ordered by the Supreme Court that, hey, this was unconstitutional. You've got to give the money back to the people. We're in 2023. That $500 million is still sitting in the coffers of Hillsborough County.
How would they even go about
with no end in sight as to when they're going to give the money back to the people who were unconstitutionally charged that 1% extra sales tax.
It's going to take them another 10 years to figure out a
It's just sitting
deployment
there.
method.
It's just sitting there, and because they have
Yeah.
no clue how to do it.
Yeah. Jeez, dude.
And it's a $500 million. And where are we going on 5 years? Gee, you think Hillsborough County is getting any interest or investing any of that $500 million?
Probably not. I wouldn't
Probably
even think.
so. Are you
Oh,
kidding
you think
me?
so?
Hell yeah. It's got to be in a bank somewhere, don't it?
I mean, yeah, but the bank would benefit. I don't know that the county
Yeah,
would.
if you put your money, well, the bank would too. But if you put your money in a bank, you get interest on your money.
Yeah, right.
Well, the government's no different. They get interest. Believe me.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Mm.
yeah. First, we're making money on money that's
So
not
we're
ours.
essentially a credit card company now, lending to the government.
Yeah.
We want our
Due
interest
to the
back.
tune of $500 million.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah.
You know what could be done with that? That's insane.
Well, anyway,
Okay.
I guess so. We got the I got to get back to my
That
Justin
blows my
Bieber
mind.
complaint. Got that. Hopefully, it'll be on a TV station near
Near
you
you.
soon. We've got the USF. We'll stay. I'll stay on top of that. See what the Supreme Court decides. But you'll probably hear it in the paper on the news if and when it comes out, because I remember hearing about it several months ago about that being an issue. Other than that, it's a beautiful day out. Christmas, oh my goodness, is right around the corner. What is today? The 9th.
Right?
Oh my gosh, 20.
Brendan Johnson's
I'm
coming
not a
out.
math major, but it's a couple of weeks away.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's wild. It is
Yeah.
wild. 2023 is on us. We were just literally staring at 2022 and going, what's this year got for us? And now we're like, well, now we know.
Yeah, I'm glad. Shit, exactly. Well, you know what? Hopefully, 2023 will be better than 2022.
You know what?
And
Every
that's all
day
you
I'm
can.
alive
That's all you
feels
can
good.
say.
Even it, yeah,
All right. Well, I got to get back to my lawsuit. Why
Okay,
don't you
cool.
take us home? Take us
I
out
will.
there.
You got it.
Take us out, Ed McMahon.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt.